Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Pranam Swamiji.
Yeah. Pranam, Pranam. So the past few days, Papa has been directing our attention to the source of our being, so that we will have the right concept of God, whose name we are chanting, to remember Him. When we hear all these things, when we read all these things, when we do manan on all these aspects, our commitment towards Ramnam should never be diluted. It is only to make the Ramnam more and more effective He is giving us. Otherwise, unknowingly, unwittingly, we will slip into the academic or philosophical exercise. So this should not be lost sight of. Because Ramnam is our prop. Ramnam is the means. So far we have been watching ourselves. In spite of doing Ramnam, we do not feel that sufficient progress has been gained. So that is why now he is giving so many inputs to make it more and more effective. And Ramnam is to remember him. That also should be borne in mind. Remember whom? Remember him who is the seed of all, who is the source of all, who is the origin of all. No? In this connection, we thought it would be appropriate to read an article written by Papa on the name of God. Name is God. God and His name are not distinct from one another. Name is God Himself. The moment we think of the name, our mind is filled with the presence of God. There is no easier way of focusing thought upon God than constantly taking His name. When we repeat the name aloud, we feel our heart is flooded with the ecstasy of love, because the sound of the divine name awakens the heart to the bliss and love of God. Papa was telling from his own experience. To us it is yet to, we are yet to reach that stage. But anyhow, we will keep it in our mind. Although mental repetition of the name is held to be far more efficacious than the verbal repetition, still the rare experience of sweetness and joy derived by uttering the name aloud is incomparable. Sit down. Although mental repetition of the name is held to be far more efficacious than the verbal repetition, still the rare experience of the sweetness and joy derived by uttering the name aloud is incomparable. When the entire being of the devotee thrills with rapture to the music of the name, he realizes that the name is Brahman. We would not have realized, like what Papa says, but everybody enjoys a bliss, especially during our 7 days Saptah now. Round the clock we have this chanting, and even at late night or early in the morning when we go to the venue, we will find everybody is beaming with joy, God is both manifest and unmanifest. The name stands for such a God. Here the unmanifest is the all-pervading, infinite, immutable, tranquil, static spirit of God inside. The manifest is the entire universe of the name, form and movement with all its beings, creatures and things. The name stands for this all-inclusive, all-transcendent Godhead who is both personal and impersonal. And the next line connects up to the source of all sources. The divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. The divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. So previously he said, God is both manifest and unmanifest. The name stands for such a God. The name stands for such a God who is manifest and unmanifest. Unmanifest, the indwelling spirit. He is in the form of life force, he is in the form of awareness, he is in the form of intelligence. And that which motivates behind everything. And the manifest is the product, whatever creation we find. So the name stands for both. Not only the origin, but also the manifestation. The divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation, about which now he has been prompting us to dwell on it intensely for the past few days. So we have to connect this name, because let not the mind divide what we were discussing 2-3 days or 4-5 days on the source of all sources. It is not disconnected with the name. All that we read is to integrate this both, while chanting or before chanting or after chanting or in between chanting. Whatever that is possible for every one of us. To certain people, advanced people, who may be able to do it side by side. For people like us, probably we may have to do this whenever there is a pause moment in our life, we can start thinking about this, and I am chanting the name of one who is that. And suppose we are in a chanting session, somebody will be leading us and we will be repeating it. There is a gap. So during that period, we can try to bring, I am chanting the name of one who is the origin of all and also who is the manifestation of all. Or at the end of it. So the divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. God the Absolute is the nameless form. God the Absolute is the nameless name, Nameless name. The name can free the soul from bondage The name can take it to the highest consummation of spiritual life. The name can grant a blind soul with a divine sight. The name can bless an individual with a universal vision full of sublimity. The name can lift the soul to inconceivable heights of God realization. The power of the name is invincible. A mind which is considered to be unconquerable becomes docile, yielding, submissive by the soothing influence of the name. The mind itself is transformed into God by the power of the name. He who takes refuge in the name can work wonders. Death itself will stand in awe of him. He can command all the forces of nature and direct them to bring about a spiritual awakening in the hearts of men. The name can make a human being an embodiment of eternal love and joy. The name can convert an individual into a cosmic reality, an ignorant soul into a very God. Where the name of God is sung, the atmosphere is permeated with purity, peace and bliss. For the symphony of the name spreads everywhere the splendor of love. The name is all sufficient. The utterance of it is itself meditation. The ecstasy born of it is itself samadhi. The name is love, light, power and joy. The writer can vouch for it from his own experience that the name by itself without any other sadhana can grant one the fullest vision of God everywhere and merge him in an ocean of never-ending love and joy. There is no sadhana which can be so universally adopted by all people and is at the same time so simple for realizing God as the divine name. It is perfectly true, in the words of a saint, that he who has God's name always on his tongue is a Jivan Mukta or a liberated soul. So, dear friends, in whatever race, caste, creed or color you may belong, take up the name of God, feel the great sweet communion with it, and you may depend upon it, your souls, through constant bathing in the nectar of the name, will not only be purified but will also be illumined with the omnipresent, omniscient light and love of God. This practice of taking the name will lead the unyielding spirit of man to complete surrender to the omnipotent power and will of God. In the earlier stages, when the name is repeated with earnestness, faith and concentration, the face and the body of the devotee will shine with a peculiar lustre. His mind will be filled with wisdom and heart with love. This is due to the predominance of Sattva-guna in the devotee. Later, when the repetition is continued with the same zeal, he will behold the universe before him as the very expression of God. Becoming one with God, he will have the vision of God everywhere. Verily, the name is God himself. So the beginningless, the force. So somewhere we have to do the manana, and at the same time our hold on the name should be as firm as possible. We can simultaneously pray to him also. Somehow I slip into mechanical chanting. Please enable me to remember you. And now you have convinced me that the name of God whose name we are chanting is the source. Is the source from which we have come, on which we exist, into which we go back. These are the three expressions Papa made yesterday. From which we came, on which we exist, into which we go back again. Because in this particular article, he talks about the source. The divine name is the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. As we shared yesterday, in umpteen number of places, Papa has brought this subject. Go to the source, go to the source, go to the source, go to the source. Because when he said remembrance of God, many of us may get confused, especially when we travel in Papa's thoughts. How to concentrate, how to remember him, because he is nameless and formless. When we say remember him, it need not necessarily be in the way in which we understand the meaning of word remembrance. When we do it everything with a love, we are remembering him. When we do it with perfection, we are remembering him. When we do it with dedication, we are remembering him. When we do it with gratitude, we are remembering him. So during the non-chanting time, when we do this, we are remembering him.
Swamiji, so good karma is the main cause. Good karma is main cause. Good karma is the main cause.
Now let us see. Because of such good karma only we are in a position to...
goes in the name of karma only, isn't it?
No, because of the karma only... Because of the karma only we are now discussing all these things, positive.
Yes.
So we need not bother about it. Anyway, the outcome is that we have been blessed to associate with these noble thoughts of the Master, and he has initiated us into a process. We find it is not sufficient. We find we are not moving towards the goal with the speed with which we should have. So now when we have these in our mind, he is watching us. So he is now giving us to have the right concept of God while chanting, at the same time not diluting our commitment to chant him, to remember him. Because Papa has chosen a path where Nama, Bhakti and Karma are intertwined.
Yes.
Each one is not separate. So Jnana, Bhakti and Karma are closely connected, intertwined. So the Nama, the Jnana gives us the input, the push that we have to go to the sources. But to make it a reality, Bhakti is necessary to plead before him and then offer him through the Nama, you please make us aware of your presence in the way in which I feel I have remembered him. Because when we say remembrance, normally we, the rememberer, if there is a word, and the remembered are separate. Whereas here, it is because of that power only we are remembering. So he is not an entity to be remembered. So we have to keep on doing this manana. How do I keep a constant remembrance? Each one can draw their own conclusions. Broadly speaking, when we do everything with a touch of love, we are remembering him. When we do everything with a touch of perfection, we are remembering him. When we do everything with a touch of dedication, we are remembering him. When we do it with a touch of gratitude, you have given everything to me. You gave me life, you gave me the remembrance power, you gave me the power to utter your name. That itself is remembrance. So each one should try to understand what according to me remembrance is. Otherwise we will be simply groping on the dark. Because purpose of chanting is to remember him. Nobody will be able to chant throughout their waking time. So we have to devise some method by which we remember him, and at the same time, through various methods, through chanting, through our activities, and through inward journey. These are the three methods Papa placed before us. Remembering through chanting of his name, remembering through our activities at the family level, professional level, social level, and taking to inward journey to feel his presence. These are the three avenues through which we try to remember him, because none of us can sit and chant for hours together. None of us are wholly involved in activity. We also retire from the activities, active activities. In between, we take rest as the age goes on. Think about it. Because whatever we do, it should be practical, no? It should not be an utopian theory, imagination. When we try to understand, I should be able to implement it in my life. I don't want to store in my memory. So jnana, bhakti, karma, we have to now combine. Vinobaji put it beautifully, easy for every one of us to remember. To know him is jnana, to love him is bhakti, to serve him is karma. So all these things help us to know him. And when we try to dedicate everything to him, that is karma. And when we know that he is behind and he has been showering his love, grace on us, right from our seed level up to this level, it becomes love. It becomes bhakti. So when we chant Ram Nam, if we try to bring all these into our mind, though not at the time of chanting, either before chanting, in between chanting, after chanting, whenever we get some leisure, we do that, so that our Nama chanting becomes more and more effective, unlike what we have been doing so far. So once again, we will read this particular article. Every day we will one article of Papa on name, so that the integrating both should go. We should be very careful, because when we go through a particular line of thinking given by Papa, Papa has always zeroed everything to Nama, which fact we should not forget. He started with Nam, and in between he was getting thoroughly convinced, did Manan, and so that he was very clear as to whose name he was chanting and who makes him to chant. Otherwise, when his father came and asked him, he will not be able to say, in the passage to divinity it is mentioned. No. Passage to divinity, no, I think he said in I don't know whether it is in passage or Swami Ramdas talks. Swami Ramdas talks. Papa's own words. When he was passing through the state, Ramdas's father by his old birth, who later became his guru, heard about his condition and got alarmed. Many disturbing reports reached him that Ramdas was behaving strangely and was neglecting worldly duties. They considered that it was all due to some derangement of his brain, which could be cured by medicine. Such was the impression people had of him, and that was conveyed to his father, who was then in Udupi. As soon as he heard the news, he ran down to see him. He looked at Ramdas and understood him. Ramdas was seen repeating Ramnam always. He had lost all interest in the world. Father asked, "Son, what are you doing?" Ramdas replied, "God is making me repeat Ram Ram." See that word? God is making me repeat. So even before his father came in and initiated him with Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So we all now infer that as soon as he saw Gandhiji for the first time in 1920, where he has mentioned that that was his first turn towards God, then from then we assume now he must have been chanting Ram, 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 because that was the name Gandhiji was chanting. And along with that, he must have been doing so many manana. Otherwise, how will he be able to say when the father came, what are you doing, son? He replied, God is making me repeat Ram Ram. That means he is the one who is making me repeat. I am chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to repeat his name. Then the father looked happier and addressed, instead of your repeating only Ram Ram, I will give you a mantra which I received from a sannyasi, just take it. He called Ramdas inside the house, initiated him with the mantra, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, and said, son, if you repeat this mantra constantly, you will attain eternal happiness. To the mantra given, there was no prefix of Om at that time. Later on, Ramdas added Om because he was very much attached to Swami Ramtirtha, whose mantra was Om. He thought that Ramtirtha wanted him to add Om to the Rama mantra. Om, the primary nada or original sound, has come from God, the impersonal, infinite reality. So through Om, the whole universe has come into existence. Therefore, Om, made up of the three sounds, A, U, M, correspondingly signifies the three kalas, three avasthas, three gunas. Papa. Present, past, present and future, three kalas. Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, three avasthas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamu, gunas. So, therefore, Om, made up of the three sounds A, U, M, correspondingly signifies the three kalas, avasthas, gunas. We are to take our mind to the beginning of all things. See? So that was what he was doing at that time. As soon as he started Ram, 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 we were not aware of all these things. We have been reading, you know. Now only the story, the awakening comes. We are to take our mind to the beginning of all things and merge ourselves in the Nirguna Brahman, and then only shall we realize that the whole universe is filled with the infinite truth and is the manifestation of that. In the talks of Swami Ramdas, he explains about the sadhana more vividly than in Quest of God. It's a great awakener for us. When he has given us a feeling that our Ramnam is not becoming sufficient to take us towards him, or to feel that we are moving towards him, then now he slowly makes us to reread, and then find the light therein. I will once again read. As soon as he heard this news about his son, he ran down to see him. He looked at Ramdas, understood him. The father asked him, "What are you doing?" Ramdas replied, "God is making me repeat Ram Ram." Passive voice. Day for yesterday or 2 days back, or yesterday, we don't know. One devotee asked this question: if every time we say in passive voice, it is difficult, others may not be able to understand also what we are meaning. Because we have been using the word I, and suddenly suppose we use the word without getting stabilized in it. So the best way is passive voice and active voice are given by God only. So in our heart we will have this passive voice. When we express, we will continue to express in the active voice. If we are always stabilized in passive voice inside, what we utter will not matter much. The active voice. Because we have not reached that stage. God is making me repeat Ram Ram. He used the word me, But at the same time he conveys this. How to do it? God is making me repeat Ram Ram. He looked happier and addressed Ramdas. Instead of your repeating only Ram Ram, I will give you a mantra which I received from a sannyasi, just take it. He called Ramdas inside the house and initiated him with the mantra, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, and said, "Son, if you repeat this mantra constantly, you will attain eternal happiness." To the mantra given, there was no prefix of Ram or Om at the time. Later on, Ramdas added Om, because he was very much attached to Swami Ramtirtha, whose mantra was Om. So nothing traditional. If traditional is there, we say when the Guru has given, how can I do this? All those problems will come, But to him there was no such problem. He was very clear at every moment God is guiding him. And when he added this Om, because of God making him to go through Swami Ramtirtha's teaching, where he gives a lot of importance for this Pranava mantra, we will read that. Because he was very much attached to Swami Ramtirtha, whose mantra was Om. He thought that Ramtirtha wanted him to add Om to the Rama Mantram. The primary Om, the primary Nada or original sound, has come from God, the impersonal, infinite reality. In Taittiriya Upanishad, when he said, from him, the infinite, impersonal reality, first came the space. Space stands for God, sound. When we try to go closely, each element, 5 elements are there. Each element represents or brings, or we don't know how to express it. But he says in that, From the self, in Taittiriya Upanishad he says, from the self, the Atman, space arose. From the space, Vayu. So here it is also explained that 5 elements have the following attributes: space, sound; air, sound and touch; fire, sound, touch and form; water, sound, touch and form and taste; earth, sound, touch, form, taste and smell. So the first one is sound. That's why we remembered. That Papa has not gone to any ashram, he has not been with any Swami. He did not do any traditional way of Vedic studies. But you see his entire teachings, So the revelations, when he said, the primary nada or original sound has come from God. The impersonal infinite reality. Through Om, the whole universe has come into existence. Therefore, Om, made up of the 3 sounds, A-U-M, correspondingly signifies the 3 kalas, avasthas, gunas. We are to take our mind to the beginning of all things and merge ourselves in the Nirguna Brahman, and then only shall we realize that the whole universe is filled with the infinite truth and is the manifestation of that. This he explains along with the mantra initiation. So that means, unlike us, he was very clear about whose name he was chanting, who is making him to chant. Right from the beginning. Which he has shared with us, but unknowingly, unwittingly, we have not applied our mind on it. Repeating the mantra. Ramdas' progress now was more rapid than he was merely repeating Ram Ram. He found that the mantra received from the Guru had more power than the mantra given by anybody else. As already stated, Ramdas had now completely, entirely to depend on Ram Nam, as he could not attend the daily bhajans in his brother's house. The sound of the mantra or Nada Brahman became his mainstay. His passion for repeating the name became so strong that he had to give up food and sleep. For whole nights he used to repeat the holy name. Members of his family naturally remonstrated at this attitude, and there were even talks current among them that Ramdas has gone mad. It was not the madness of the ordinary type, but it was divine madness. In those days, Ramdas was engaged in an industrial business and he had some work to attend to it, but he was carrying it on like an automaton. Later on, he completely lost interest in this business also. He was engrossed in the repetition of the name, which was going on day and night. All luxuries of life were given up. Life was reduced to the simplest form. His food in those days consisted only of some boiled potatoes. His body became thin, and this helped him to be very active. He continued this sort of life for about 6 months without absolutely any sleep. He could not sleep for fear that he would forget God during that time. He wanted to have the name ceaselessly, unbroken like the Tailadhara or flow of oil from one vessel to another. That was why he had to keep awake all night. He also makes a mention about Bhagavad Gita. Ramdas was a constant reader of the Bhagavad Gita. He was only a child of God and not much learned. He drew inspiration from the great scripture, the Gita. He found that the goal which the Gita holds before us is nothing less than the universal vision, not merely seeing God as a personal being, but to see Him as the universal or cosmic reality, to behold the universe as His manifestation. It is said that this highest vision alone will grant us the state of perfect and eternal happiness. Saguna Darshan will appear and disappear, and when it disappears, we shall be utterly unhappy. But universal vision is not like that. Therein we feel the presence of God always, every moment of our life and everywhere. We look upon all the forms, beings and creatures in the universe as the very expression or manifestation of God. In this state, we enjoy ineffable peace and bliss. Ramdasa's aim was to attain this vision. After reading the Gita, his craving was not at all for Sagun Darshan. He wanted only the grandest vision, by which he could behold the whole universe as his form. It was when this desire was taking root in his heart that the Lord appeared him in the form of Krishna. Ramdas prayed to him. On the seeing the Lord standing in front of him, Ramdas prayed to him, O Lord, you have taught this child through your Gita that the realization of the Absolute depends upon our transcending all gunas and dandvas. I do not crave for this Saguna Darshan. You can give me the universal vision, so I beg of you to grant me the supreme vision. Then the form of Lord Krishna disappeared. So we are trying to now consolidate our earnings, in the sense, so far he has been taking us to the root, origin, root, first cause. In so many ways he has explained. To him, this came at the beginning of his sadhana. To us, after a long time. So that is why we find it difficult to integrate it. In his case, because he was very clear about whose name he was chanting and who is making him to chant, his sadhana, in 2 years' time, he could scale the heights. Because we were not very clear, we started chanting. Amongst our various priorities and preferences, this also is included, that's all. We have faith in Ramnam, faith in the words of Papa, and we do Ramnam. But now a stage has come when we all feel that what is expected of us has not come out. So now Papa is taking to that stage. That is why he is reminding how he got it. So even in this first, in this article called Name is God, he says, the divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation. The divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. God the Absolute is the nameless name. So along with Ramnam, let us also try to bring this dimension as much as possible. Of the whole day's chanting, suppose we are in a position to bring this dimension in one chanting, it's a gain. Because the longing is there in us to integrate this in the chanting.
Swamiji, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Dimension சொல்றது அவரோட attributes
ஆமாம்
இல்ல
ஆமாம் அட்ரிபியூட் இதெல்லாம் அட்ரிபியூட் தானே இதெல்லாம் அட்ரிபியூட் தானே யூ ஆர் த பிகினிங்லெஸ் சோர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஆல் கிரியேஷன் நாமா இஸ் த பிகினிங்லெஸ் சோர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஆல் கிரியேஷன் அண்ட் த கிரியேஷன் இட் செல்ஃப் இதெல்லாம் அட்ரிபியூட் தானே You are the root from where I came. You are the seed. I am chanting the name of one who is the seed of all, who is my seed also. I am chanting the name of one who took care of, who brought me in the form of a seed in my mother's womb, and then he made me to develop these 200 and odd organs during my mother's womb. And again, when I came out, it was he who provided, whose name I am chanting. In the form of Mother Nature, in the form of society, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Somehow we try to integrate it in the way in which we can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Probably one method could be, now it just strikes to us, that this sort of integrating Ramnam can be done for, say, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and the usual Ramnam for the rest of the people. So that the impact of it will slowly percolate into the other chanting also. That is why now for the past 1.5 years, he has also introduced this Mantra Rupa chanting, no? So we have got sufficient time to integrate all this. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Because there is we are stretching, you know. So 5 or 10 minutes, suppose we resort to such type of chanting, where we get ample time to integrate some of the values which he has made us to know. Beginningless, this particular word, you know. Divine name is thus the beginningless source of all creation and the creation itself. Those of you who are having divine life, if you go to the article name is God, you will find this. So every now and then we try to go through wherever he has spoken about the name, that also we go through, so that, you know, we can integrate. All this to ensure that the name does not slip into a mechanical exercise, lip level exercise. Anybody would like to say anything?
We must feel and
Huh?
we must feel and chant.
Feel, correct, exactly. Feel and chant. That is the right word.
Sometimes we flip no Swami.
Ah.
Appa enna pannalaam? We flip sometimes. Mind goes elsewhere without.
Mind will go elsewhere. For some.
Immediately we open our eyes, restart, you know.
Okay.
Mind will go, the moment we know we are not hearing our name, that means the mind has gone out. Immediately we open and then we restart. Initially, that's why we said 5 or 10 minutes we will intensely bring out the dimension while chanting, and then continue with our usual way of chanting. Let us not derail it. And then watch ourselves whether the impact is slowly percolating into the rest of the time. And then during the non-chanting time.
Swamiji. Hari.
Yes?
When we are chanting, when we are starting with the prayer, when we are chanting, as many attributes, maybe 1 or 2, we are able to hold on to. And then we start chanting. It becomes mental chanting automatically.
Yeah.
The moment thoughts come in, then it becomes vocal chant.
Yeah.
This is my observation.
Okay. Nothing is wrong, you know, whatever suits.
But I have yet to check whether it is percolating.
We have to watch our. Yeah. Now quite right. With all that Papa has now been giving us now, with all these inputs, we will try to bring in as much as possible and watch for us, wait for us, watch, whether we have been able to bring in this. Otherwise, even where we fail, we pray to him. See, you have given me this dimension, you make me to chant with this dimension, but somehow when I attempt, my old habits, it takes me away from chanting. Please, step in. And then mysteriously we will get the guidance. Guidance in the form of, say, various vradas silently. Not for tom-tomming. Various vradas it will get. Suppose the mind refuses to cooperate, then we will put them on various vradas. Whatever that God prompts us from within. So for example, when we take initiation nowadays, Papa is prompting us to tell everybody that we must have a number, a count. Because of what? Because it should become a part of our daily life. So initially when mantra initiation is taken, we take a resolve and make a promise to Papa, who has given us this mantra, mentally. Nobody need know. I will do this much mala a day. 1 mala, 2 mala, 3 mala, whatever possible. But that will be permanent. When we make a resolve, whatever it may be, whatever may be our preoccupations, we will somehow see that at least during our bathing time, our walking time, we would have completed that quota. Not a day passes without our chanting it for the quota which we have committed. And anything extra, that also we will do. But this we will not compromise. Like that some vradas, First stage is we will chant. Second stage is to fine-tune the chanting. So for that he has been giving us so many now. How to become one with him, source of all sources. He makes us to go through all this Bhagavad Gita, Taittiriya Upanishad. And then because of that, we get more and more clarity as to whom's name we are chanting.
Swamiji, the mind gets solace in hearing the triune voices, Papaji, Mataji and Swamiji. Am I right in following the voices in the morning, early morning, during Brahma Muhurta and at other times, or I should remember on my own?
You try any method, From outside, nobody will be able to suggest.
More on Mataji's voice.
Whatever. Because we are not attaching to any individual. We are taking that God is making me to remember this particular tune.
Yes.
To remember him, to remember him, to remember him, to remember the power who is making me to chant. It is preferable at that time we don't bring anybody into the picture. Because again the mind will go out. The moment you say the word Papa, Mataji, Swamiji or anybody for that matter, under that protection the mind will go out. Our purpose is to go to the source.
The Nama itself is through their voice circulating into me.
No, you have to watch whether you are deriving the benefit of going to the core of your being.
Yes.
So it will be preferable not to bring anybody. This is what Papa's, not only Papa, we have read many, better, and Vinobaji was blunt in saying. So the better we don't bring.
Going into the mind, only as a case of Vitanandaji or Swamiji or Papa or in the form, without that form, the name alone goes into my mind through voice.
You try in whatever way it is possible. What is needed is whether we are becoming one with that,
Yes.
That is important. Each one has to try and bring a methodology by him. Papa says, when the necessary intensity of love for the name is present, our mind will dwell uninterruptedly on the name. As an example, we find in the household that the mother loves her youngest child most. And even when the child is in its cradle beyond the sight of the mother, she will not fail to keep up a sustained remembrance of the baby. What does make the mother thus keep up a stream of remembrance of the baby? We have to admit that it is her concentrated love for the baby. Similarly, if we love God beyond everything else in the world, this love will automatically maintain in our mind a continuous flow of God remembrance. The name of God will start on our tongue spontaneously and will run on continuously. Further, the sweet sound issuing from the utterance of the name will prove to be a veritable nectar to the attentive ear. When thus the mind is inebriated, as it were, with the love of God and filled with the music of His name, all its desires will be transmuted into divine ways of ecstasy. This is the ineffable summit of divine union and revelation. So the
yes, Swami, this gives me. Thanks. This gives me that to me.
And in the first article he said, God the Absolute is the nameless name.
Nameless. Yes.
Whose name we are chanting? The nameless reality is given a name. So when we know that we are chanting the name of the nameless reality, then it does not affect us at all. Because he has made it very clear. That was what he did. Impersonal, right from the beginning. The name stands for this all-inclusive, all-transcendent Godhead, who is both personal and impersonal. Personal in the sense the whole creation. Impersonal in the sense the motivating, the articulating, the substratum force. So in both aspects it is not centered on a form.
No, not centered on the form, on the voice.
No. The name can free the soul from bondage. The name can take it to the highest consummation of spiritual life. The name can bless an individual with a universal vision of sublimity. So the source of all sources, right from the seed level to the present level. So we try to remember that power through the chanting of the name. That is the sum total of what all we have discussed. He gave us ample opportunities to go to the source of all sources. To a great extent, intellectually, we are convinced about it. Now, to make it a reality, he gives us a tool, a methodology called remembering him through chanting. And bringing the dimension in all that we do, in all that we think, in all that we act, in talk.
It is Guru's path.
Yeah. So let us keep on bringing all these dimensions and never dilute our chanting.
Yes, Swami. Carry on. What did you mean by diluting the chanting?
What is meant by?
Padmaji, will you please repeat it?
Diluting.
Yeah.
Diluting means the moment we start thinking about this, the mind has got a tendency to move towards the abstract without a tool. It is only an academic, intellectual assimilation. Even in Chennai, when we were discussing, we remember somebody came and asked us, is it not our own mental imagination? Is it not our own mental, what do you call, mental antics, activity? Because we will slip into that. So, but to end up, for that, we have to keep on bringing this Nama into the forefront, and to make the Nama more and more effective, God is now giving us all these details. Because previously, when we chant, we were only chanting. Now we are chanting the name of one who has been with me right from my seat level up to this time, and who is the base power, the life force in me, who is making me to chant. All this clarity comes. So for that, the Nama should be with us throughout. Until we know that the Nama and Nami are one. Until we know that the chanter and the chanted become one. So we will all pursue with the same enthusiasm as we have been doing. So that is what is called dilute. The mind has got a tendency to stay at the philosophical level, not at the practical level. Because every moment God is giving us a test. Every moment. That is why, in spite of knowing all these things, we fail in the test.
Yes, sir.
A small insect may be on our road. Are we becoming conscious of it? No? As much as possible. So right from the minutest, if our mind goes on to the feeling that he is there, if this is not joined with Ramnam, then the Ramnam becomes separated, a compartmentalized activity, disconnected with the common run of life.
That is the if it becomes diluted, this may be the effect. Is that what you mean, Swamiji?
No, diluted means only concentrating on these philosophical aspects intellectually.
Yes.
But at the same time, because the Nama immediately brings us, we are chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to chant. And I as an individual, I am chanting it. So I am what I am because of him. Slowly the bhakti part, comes out. So we are trying to combine this jnana and bhakti. If it is only jnana, then the risk is there. People who have scaled the height, but in our case, probably we feel that merely concentrating on the jnana aspect may not give us the desired result. At the same time, we must bring those top, because Papa has beautifully mixed it with bhakti. He has not belittled the importance of jnana, but he has mixed it beautifully with bhakti. That is why when he explained to us about the spiritual journey, he said bhakti is the root, vairagya is the trunk, dispassion, jnana is the flower, parabhakti is the fruit. Bhakti is the root. So Nama chanting enables us to become aware of this root. Only jnana means probably we may get stuck there. So we have to he has already given us the name, so the name is also to be simultaneously intertwined with all these dimensions. Otherwise, our commitment towards our dedication towards Nama may get diluted. Mind will be more and more on that. And then after we come back, it will be there at the intellectual level, at the practical level, no. Of course, these are not the final. These are all some of the thoughts that are welling up while we are going through it. Each one can derive their own.
Swamiji, I am still not able to, as Papa says, I am not able to see Papa in everybody. Anybody's action, anybody's saying is Papa saying.
Not-
Papa's action. I am not able to say that.
Not only you, all of us. We are all trying, Yeah. To the extent possible, 1%, 2%, 5%, 15%, 20%, 50%, like that, we will move. So we will try. With the help of, with the support of Ramnam, by giving all these additions, we will try to progress, and he is guiding us. 100% it is sure. He is guiding us, leading us. Let us always become aware of this truth. Because always hammering that he is leading us, guiding us, will give us the needed, pumping, push. Otherwise we may feel, what am I doing, where am I, We are safe in his hands. He is taking us. Even if our attentions are on other side, somehow he is dragging us, putting us, giving us so many dimensions about how to make the spiritual journey more effective. We will take it all, but at the same time hold on to the prop. That is what he did. Even when he started chanting Ram, 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 it was not merely chanting, he was going deep into every aspect of it, and that is why he was able to say to his father that God is making him to repeat name, Rama, Rama. Which fact probably would not have struck to us. Now he is reminding us. So let us all try to put it. He is guiding us, he is leading us. We are on the path. We are sure to reach the goal. More of it tomorrow we'll see. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Sharma is reminding that Hare Rama from tomorrow starts, and Satsang we are going to have there, and for Hare Rama also people are here, no? So you can tell.
Where?
Hare Rama here starts from tomorrow.
So I would.
No, she says we can tell now.
Okay.
Then Satsang also will be there from
tomorrow onward, there will be Hare Rama. Om Shri Hare Rama Sapta. A group of devotees from Andhra, they are coming, and it will be round the clock. So our satsang venue between 3:30 to 4:30 will be changed. It will be mostly in the satsang hall tomorrow. We will try, and of course for them it doesn't make much difference. For us, so yes, you can also mentally join Hare Rama. It will start. We hope the party will reach here in the morning, and Papa willing, we may start it by 9:30 or 10 o'clock tomorrow, and then it will go on for 7 days, ending on Puja Mataji's Jayanti day. Hari Om, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram. Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam, Pranam.